Sex is one of the best parts of a relationship in which you become open and vulnerable to your partner. So in this video, I'll be sharing with you some of the things that men consider as great sex. And the basic reason why we need to discuss about this is that sex is one of the basic things that both men and women that are in intimate relationship consider as something important in the bedroom. And we can't really shy away from it, because if your sex life is not working, then probably your relationship as well is not also. It's actually very important for every woman to take out their time to learn about how to satisfy their man and what men actually consider as great sex, because aside food, sex is another basic thing that gives men major satisfaction when it comes to relationships. And it is actually very essential that you give it a basic priority to learn about it, because for women, they actually get their satisfaction not just from doing the do itself, but from other things that surround it. But you can't assume that just because you're satisfied and it is great for you, also make it great for your partner. Remember that you people are two separate people. This is a man and a woman with different makeup, and so this actually makes it very, very important for us to learn what makes sex a great thing. So like my husband will say that sex is that inner connection that a man desires from a relationship. He explained it as the fact that sex is just more than what we think it is, that we just feel like as if men desire sex, that it is beyond that. He actually coins his definition from the creation of man from Adam and Eve, and he described it as the fact that that one rib that was removed from Adam and given to Eve is that exact thing that makes Adam to actually yearn and care and want to be with Eve all the time. And it looks like as if every time a man is with you, most times, even when they are bothered, they want to have sex. When they are relaxed, they want to have sex. It is just basically a way they express all of their emotion. And you're wondering why is it so? So my husband would say that what is the function of a rib? And since we all know that rib is used for respiration, that means that it is used to take in air and take out air. That means that sex is as important to a man as important as air is. So come to think about it that way. If you know that something is as important to your partner as much as air is, would you be willing to give it to them? And would you consider to give it great priority to learn about? I'm not talking about men who have sex randomly. I'm talking about sex in a committed relationship, because for someone who has sex randomly, I don't know how we explain that one, but that shows that the person did not put the desire into self-control. That's basically what it means. So we are actually talking about somebody who is in a committed relationship like marriage, and that's what we are talking about today. So my husband basically sees it as just a place where a man wants to connect with you, wants to get in fresh air, wants to exhale, you know, because the rib is actually function for respiration, taking in and bringing out oxygen and carbon dioxide. So you're just a place of peace for your husband, and this is just all it requires from just the sex. Don't mind my husband, he's just a theologian who loves to study things in depth. So here, let's talk about the basic things that actually make sex a great one for your partner. The thing that we'll be talking about is the frequency. Yes, the frequency is the volume of how often it is being done. Like we all know that the frequency is what is actually being checked when you check for your pulse to see if the person is still breathing and all those good stuff. That's exactly what it looks like. How often is it happening? Because some would say it is not about the frequency, it is about how good it is. Yes, I agree with that as well, that being good actually matters, but sometimes you don't know which day will be good, and that is just why as much as he requests for it, or as much as you know he needs it, give it to him. And that's just the best way to make the rhythm keep beating, because they will say that a moving bed is a happy home. So that's just the best way to make the rhythm keep beating. Ensure that it is a priority in your home. Ensure that the frequency is okay. Scientifically, it is agreed that you have it at least twice a week, but I'm saying that if you want it more than twice a week, there's no big deal. Why not do it as much as possible? Also remember that as men grow older, their desire for sex tends to reduce because their energy level also decrease. So just enjoy this season, and as often as he requests for it, do it, because a time is even coming where frequency of the sex will reduce because of life situations, nature of job, child rearing phase where you're giving birth and all those stuff. So that season of your life, it would actually not, even if you desire it, you will have to learn the place of self-control and just agree, because you can't be in a nursing phase. Probably you just giving birth, at least the first 2 weeks of giving birth, there won't be anything like sex, and that means that it has to stay. So by that time, when you're very sure that there's actually nothing keeping you from giving him, you are healthy and you are old, there's no reason to keep it away from him. As much as possible, do ensure that you make the rhythm keep beating as frequent as it can be. Twice a week is not really that bad. I don't think it is that bad, and this is the best thing you can do to keep the rhythm beating. Ensure that you don't make it a thing of the fact that it just happened when it happened. You can set a routine to it. If you feel that twice a week might not even happen, if you don't put it as a routine, you can put it as a routine and say Monday and then Thursday, or Monday and then Friday, or Sundays, based on the time that you are very sure that you go about. What makes sense also great for a man is that you give him capacity to be the sex lord. When it comes to the word lordship, it means that you allow the person to be the leadership of the whole thing. I know that men often say that they don't like women who just sleep, but in the real sense, they don't also want you to take the wheel from them. The same way he does not want you to take the wheel of the home and say you are the one running the home, you are the one footing your bills yourself, you are the one making all your decisions all by yourself. And that's the same way sex is for him. He desires to please you as much as he also wants to be pleased. So all you need to do is be as patient as you can be. Let him lead, and when he does something that is not convenient for you, just tell him that let me adjust to this side. Like, it's not that deep. Just tell him, like, it's not that deep. The best time to even talk about it is when it is happening. Like, it look very awkward that you just finish having it and then you sit down and be like, I don't like the way you used to do it. You're killing his ego, and this is one of the things that men want to achieve when they have sex. It satisfies their ego that they are in control, they can have sex whenever they want. Well, he paid for it, so let him have access to it as much as he can. That's when we talk about frequency. And when we are talking about you letting him be the Lord, just let him be the Lord, because he's the head. Just let him be the Lord. As much as he initiated it, don't just take over it from him and then tell him no, not that way. No, be polite in the way you say it. And in case there's something you actually don't like about it, you can talk about it as it's happening. And if you feel it is something you don't want to talk about during a random communication, you can bring it up and be like, there's even something I would like to discuss with you. And this is a place where communication with your partner is actually very, very, very important. If you don't communicate before, trying to now communicate about intimate things, you might be very shy about it, to say that the way he does it is not very convenient for you. The particular position that suits him does not suit you, because it is when you communicate that both of you can now find a middle ground that works for you both. When you don't communicate it, it makes it very difficult to look for a middle ground. Sometimes you even feel like as if he's doing it very well for you, even feel like as if he's satisfying you. Sometimes he's doing something thinking other women used to like it. It is you who has the capacity to tell him that, yes, I'm a woman, but this is not the best way me personally like it to be. And that's just the best thing you can do for yourself, rather than keeping the urge inside of you and saying you just don't like the way he does it, you just don't want to be involved in it because you don't like what it will turn out to, it is painful, or all those kind of stuff. So the best thing you can do for yourself is, if you feel any pain, if you feel any discomfort, or you're not too satisfied with a particular position, discuss about it while it is happening. And if you feel it is not very easy to say it that time, ensure that you spark up a communication. And before you can spark up communication on this kind of sensitive things, that means that you're actually on a communication level where you discuss about random things. And the fact that you're his personal girl, you are his wife, doesn't mean you should stop being his hype man, telling him that he's actually doing this part of the relationship very well as well. Don't let it end in the fact that you're not married and you can't express your love to him, and tell him that he's doing this part of the relationship very well. And to also make a man to feel that the sex is actually very great is for you to make the sex desirable. Don't make it an obligation or a routine. Don't make it something that he has to beg for it all the time. I know that yes, women actually love to be chased and beg all the time, but it doesn't have to be that way. The fact that you're already in the confines of marriage shows that once in a while you should spark it up as well. Make it desirable, make it something that he also knows that you can spark it up and you can do it well. Wear clothes that you are sure that will stay him up. Do things that you are sure that when you do it, it will actually turn him up and it will cause the day to be a great day. One thing I notice about sex is that once you have it and it pleases the other person, especially when they do not request for it and it pleases them, it lightens up their day, it makes them relax, and that's just basically it for men. So when it's just more like, I serve you a food right now and it happened to be a food you really like without you requesting for it, how happy would you be? Compared to the fact that I serve you a food that you actually really like, but you had to beg and beg and beg for it. So once in a while, let it be that without any strings attached, you just make it possible, make it desirable, make the environment friendly. You need to make it as affectionate and natural as it can be, because it is not every day that it has to be a routine. You know how when something becomes a routine, how stressful and tiring it is for you? Yes, don't let it become that way. It's just more like your job. When your job becomes a routine, it automatically becomes very stressful for you. You wish wish you can quit, you wish you won't go this day, and that's just because it's a routine. But think about it, that job, you have the liberty to go when you want to go, and when you don't want to go, you won't go. How would you feel about it? Make it that way. Make it a thing of the fact that the environment is just good, you are always affectionate. Another thing that you also need to put into consideration to make it a great one for your man is that you should not hold back. Don't hold back. As many things as you know that you're happy about in that relationship, as much as words of affirmation, saying good things about your woman makes her happy and makes her connected to you, men also want to hear it. Tell him his praises, let him hear his praises. Don't let it be that it is when the men die you will not start saying, and he's a very good man. No, it doesn't have to be that way. You can tell him his praises while he's currently with you now, and while he's even planning to have sex with you, or when he's done with the sex. After sex, you can lie beside him and tell him how very good he is on bed, how very active and trying and pleasing and satisfying he is. Yes, every man wants to hear that praise. I'm sure every man wants to hear that praise. So ensure that you don't hold back. Tell them how very blessed you are to have them by your side. Tell them how very blessed you are to have them as the one who satisfies your emotion. Tell them how very blessed you are that they are very hardworking for the home and they care about you and your children. Just tell them every of the good stuff that is in your heart. Don't hold it just to your heart. Tell them as much as you need to. I actually create a video for you where I explain everything that you need to know about relationship. I explain how to get the communication rolling, how to sustain that relationship, and now I've already told you how to get the sex rolling as well. I'm sure you don't want to miss that part of the video where I tell you everything you need to know about relationship. The link to that video is actually in the description of this particular video. Just go right there and you'll be learning basic things about how to keep the communication rolling, so that you won't find it difficult to communicate with your partner how exactly you feel about sex, how exactly you want it to be, and communicate every other things that you need to communicate in your day-to-day life. I'm sure you learned a thing or two, and do ensure you go to the comment section and tell me how you feel about this video. Don't forget to subscribe. My name is Temynna. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you in my next video. Bye.